If your soul asked for a sign, this is the one you cannot ignore. This week, the sky doesn't whisper, it calls you by name. Mars enters Sagittarius and ignites the step you've been putting off. The full moon in Taurus puts the results on the table and asks what, in fact, you can sustain. Venus in Scorpio deepens desires and alliances beyond appearances. And when Uranus returns to Taurus, the ground plates move again. What is true stabilizes. What is fragile cracks without ceremony. It is not a week to promise, it is to present. To present posture, priority, presence. Where you spend your energy now becomes the track for all of November. If you insist on what is already over, the full moon will collect its due. If you choose what is alive, Mars in Sagittarius opens the way. If you own what your heart truly wants, Venus legitimizes it. And if you allow the correction, Uranus repositions you without guilt. You don't need guarantees. You need coherence. Courage here isn't about shouting, it's about sustaining the simple decision that aligns your day with your truth. A conversation that frees, a cut that protects, a yes that honors what calls you. The field is ready for those who arrive whole. Write in the comments, now, sealing your frequency for this week. I received my blessings. The week begins with a flash, not of noise, of direction. Mars enters Sagittarius and releases the handbrake on your most honest impulse. What was an idea becomes an arrow. What was desire becomes a road. Sagittarius is an arrow that only respects the target. Mars is the arm that pulls the string and releases without trembling. Together, they ask, are you going to keep spinning around the same subject, or are you going to choose a north and walk? Here, courage isn't shouting. It's cutting distractions. It is saying no to what only consumes your fire and yes to what gives back the horizon. Mars in Sagittarius does not negotiate with pettiness. It expands the scenery and puts you on high ground where you can see far. From up there, it becomes clear what has a future and what is already the past disguised as a commitment. Notice the signs in your body. You wake up wanting to resolve things quickly, to say what's needed, to close pending tasks. This isn't anxiety. It is movement demanding passage. Use this impulse for simple and incisive decisions. Adjusting schedules, reorganizing priorities, sending the message that frees, accepting the invitation that expands, declining what holds you. Mars rewards clear action, half strength, half intention. Sagittarius also asks for truth, not the memorized truth, the lived truth. The path widens when you stop performing for the wrong audience. If your internal map says it's this way, don't wait for applause. Advance and let the result do the work of explaining. Mars in Sagittarius is pedagogical. It teaches by example, not by discourse. Beware of two excesses, that of impulsivity that burns bridges for no reason, and that of advertising without substance, which promises more than it can sustain. The balance here is simple. Only speak what you will fulfill, and only move what you can carry with dignity. The rest is tiresome vanity. Practical signs of this transit. Ideas that arrive whole. Solutions that appear when you change environments. People who connect opportunities through real affinity, not self-interest. Observe the doors that open effortlessly and those that jam even with insistence. The first are the road. The second are the lesson. Connect with your why. Sagittarius is meaning, Mars is execution. If you know why you do it, it becomes easier to cross the boring part of the process. If you don't know, any stumble becomes a reason to quit. Write your reason in a short sentence and keep it in your pocket. When the mind tries to sabotage you, read it and continue. Finally, remember, courage does not eliminate fear. It puts fear in the passenger seat. The arrow is drawn, the target is clear. And the timing of this week favors those who decide standing tall, with a straight spine and their gaze on the horizon. Start simple. Start today. Movement opens the path that the mind cannot see while standing still. The eve of a full moon decides the quality of the harvest. In Taurus, the sky doesn't reward volume, it rewards what is rooted. Today, preparation is less about making noise and more about clearing the noise so the essential can appear. Think like someone checking their backpack before crossing a mountain range. What sustains body, mind, and spirit stays. What is weight without purpose goes. Taurus rules the simple that endures. Therefore, adjust the environment where you actually produce results. Organize your desk, files, tools, and finances in the most basic way possible. The Taurian field amplifies what you honor with consistency. If you nurture what you want to grow, it grows. If you tolerate what drains, the field collects its due. Today, the triage is silent and relentless, nothing theatrical, just presence. Look at 3 fronts that define stability: time, energy, and value. Time is a schedule without empty promises, cut commitments that have no real return. Energy is a regulated body. Hydrate, breathe, reduce stimuli, sleep better. Value is a fair exchange. Recalibrate what you deliver and what you receive. When these 3 lines are straight, the full moon in Taurus legitimizes your next step as if signing off on it. Avoid discussions, justifications, and a spirit of urgency. Taurus doesn't run. Taurus sustains. Instead of looking for external signs, perceive internal signs. The body always warns when something has substance. Breath that deepens, shoulders that relax, focus that becomes simple. If it still feels heavy, it's not ready. If it flows without effort, it's yours. The eve also asks for respect for the rhythm of money and partnerships. Don't force agreements. Don't push offers. Adjust terms with calm clarity. What is coherent is confirmed naturally. What depends on insistence reveals it's already past its due date. Say less and show more with a well-done concrete gesture. Taurus trusts facts, not promises. Treat desire with sobriety. Ask if the want is an impulse or an investment. If it's an impulse, it dissolves when you rest. If it's an investment, it's still standing even after a shower, a coffee, and a deep breath. This is the Taurian measure. What remains standing deserves more of you. Prepare the physical terrain for the night. Reduce screens, bright lights, and useless information. Make space for a clean sensory perception. The Taurian insight doesn't come as a loud epiphany. It comes as a quiet certainty, a short sentence that ends a subject, a simple choice that organizes the month, a no said with respect that releases energy back to you. If there is anxiety, ground it with basic procedures. A spreadsheet instead of imagination, a short list instead of infinite tasks. Focus on one tangible delivery that can be finished. Taurus loves completion. One finished job is worth more than 10 open projects. The lunar peak amplifies what is concluded with dignity. Honor the body as an altar as well. Eat light, hydrate, move slowly, stretch. Small rituals of care anchor big decisions. The body is the spirit's first home. When it feels safe, the mind stops making noise and intuition rises to the surface without resistance. Finally, trust the spiritual gravity of this phase. What is yours approaches. What is not yours moves away. It is not punishment. It is field physics. The full moon in Taurus doesn't need you to chase. It needs you to be present when the door opens. Today, you just clear the passage, close what no longer makes sense, and leave space for real growth. Tomorrow, the light does the rest. In the middle of the week, The light rises to its maximum and reveals what was hidden by convenience. The full moon in Taurus doesn't ask for speeches, it asks for proof. Taurus is ground. It is body. It is matter. When the moon overflows in this sign, everything that is true gains weight. Everything that is a bluff loses strength. It is the kind of glare that doesn't just shine in the sky. It illuminates your relationship with value, stability, food, money, time, and touch. A simple and relentless question: what in your life truly sustains you? Here, spirituality comes down to the table. It's not about talking about purpose, it's about paying the price of coherence. Taurus doesn't run, it builds. And the full moon functions as an energetic audit, where you invest attention, form returns. Where you outsource responsibility, emptiness returns. Pay attention to what flourishes without forced effort, and with the same honesty to what needs a daily push, not to collapse. The first group is roots, the second is scenery. The body becomes an oracle, very direct signs, more selective hunger, the need to sleep better, the desire to simplify routines, repulsion to noisy environments, attraction to textures, aromas, real food. This isn't fussiness. It is the Taurian instinct pulling you toward the essential. If the body asks for a pause, it's not sabotage, it's a torque adjustment. The machine works better with maintenance than with heroism. In relationships, the full moon in Taurus checks reciprocity. Where there is a fair exchange, it grows. Where there is imbalance, the bill appears. It doesn't need a fight, it needs a position. Set silent and consistent boundaries. Sporadic demonstrations of value do not sustain long ties. Habits do. Match expectation with gesture. And if the other party doesn't keep up, the clarity of this moon will show it without metaphors. In work and money, the question is, does your present converse with your future? Taurus likes plans that fit in your hand. Think in terms of cycles, not miracles. Small material rituals gain power. Organizing finances, reviewing subscriptions, simplifying tools, eliminating physical excesses that drain energy. Every object without purpose is a thread stuck to your field. Detaching is not losing, it is recovering flow. The full moon also calibrates desire. Does what you call comfort strengthen you or numb you? There is a comfort that repairs and another that paralyzes. Taurus teaches the difference. Allow pleasures that return presence to you. A long bath, a meal eaten with attention, a walk in the sun, feet on the ground. Remove the treats that hold you back. Infinite scrolling, promises of elastic deadlines, compensations that cost more than they relieve. Beware of two extremes. First, stubbornness, confusing consistency with attachment to forms that no longer serve. Taurus is fixed, but Taurus's nature changes with the seasons. If the tree changes leaves, you can also change a method without betraying the essence. Second, indulgence, using the idea of deserving to postpone decisions that demand firmness. The full moon amplifies what you feed. Direct it. Use this peak of light for a concrete gesture of value. Choose one single thing that materializes your priority for the month and do it now. It could be signing a commitment, completing a payment, finalizing a cut, starting to care for your body, buying what was missing to start a practice, donating what holds you back. Little talk, much gesture. Taurus respects hands busy with the right thing. If a conflict arises between speed and quality, choose quality. If a conflict arises between external opinion and what the body knows, listen to the body. If a conflict arises between appearance and solidity, stay with solidity. The full moon in Taurus rewards those willing to be obvious. Sleep better to think better, eat better to decide better, organize better to perform better. The basic is the advanced, when it is done every day, and keep the synthesis of this lunation. Value is direction. When you treat what you love as valuable, life learns to treat you the same way. The opposite is also true. After the Taurian glare of the full moon and the fiery aim of Mars in Sagittarius, the sky pulls you inward. Venus enters Scorpio. Here, love is not a showcase, it's a pact. Value is not a price tag, it's blood. Exchange is not courtesy, it's energy in flow. This transit tests the veracity of your connections and the integrity of your desires. What remains? What deepens? What needs to die for the bond to have life again? Scorpio works with intensity, but the invitation isn't drama, it's emotional precision. When Venus crosses this territory, semi-cold agreements turn sour, lukewarm affections lose their color. Vague promises reveal hidden costs. The question becomes simple. Does this relationship, partnership, or routine of exchange sustain my value newly revealed by Taurus? If the answer hesitates, you already know. It's not about punishing anyone. It's about freeing what no longer vibrates with you. There is a second movement, the purification of desire. Venus in Scorpio returns focus to Eros as a life force, not just sex, but creative impulse, magnetism, the capacity to invest presence where it makes sense. You perceive energy leaks, conversations that leave you smaller, habits that sweeten you only to drain you later, generosities that buy silence. Identify them without guilt. The sky asks for a refounding of your yes. A clean yes is worth more than 10 favors. In bonds, radical honesty heals faster than infinite negotiation. Say what hurts, what you need, what you're in for, what you're not. Without threats, without games. Scorpio respects raw truth and sustained coherence. A well-placed boundary doesn't cool things down. It heats them up because it returns security to the field. Whoever is meant to stay aligns. Whoever isn't moves away. The emptiness left over isn't loss, it's fertile space. In money, Scorpionic Venus asks for silent strategy. Cut expenses that mask emotions, buying to numb, rewards that turn into guilt. Reallocate resources to what strengthens you. Study, health, tools of purpose. Financial partnerships ask for transparency, clear terms, deadlines, deliverables. Try the rule. What we cannot write down, we have not agreed upon. Integrity is an amulet in this transit. Spiritually, Venus in Scorpio is an initiation of intimacy with your own shadow. What you call being too demanding is sometimes delayed self-protection. What you call detachment is sometimes fear of feeling deeply. The work here is to welcome depth without drowning. How? Slow breathing, presence in the body, Taurian anchoring, sleep, food, touch, Sagittarian courage, saying yes to what expands, and surgical silence, to hear what is behind the impulse. You don't need to react to the first tremor. You need to listen to what it signals. If jealousy, obsessions, or compulsions arise, treat them as sirens, not as sentences. Sirens point to wounds of value and belonging. Instead of watching the other, watch your boundary. Instead of demanding proof, prove to yourself that you sustain the standard you declared. Magnetic is the one who does not negotiate with themselves. Practical summary: simplify exchanges, deepen a few bonds, end the games, formalize agreements, close leaks, invest in what makes you whole. Venus in Scorpio doesn't want quantity of attention, it wants quality of presence. What remains is gold. What falls away was sand. When Uranus retreats from Gemini and crosses back over the threshold into Taurus, the sky trades mental noise for a foundational correction. It's a cosmic recall. Everything that was accelerated in the head returns to be tested in the body, in money, in time, and in matter. Uranus doesn't ask if you are ready. It realigns what went crooked. Where there is excess, it cuts. Where there is truth, it stabilizes in a way that is both simple and surprising. Taurus is terrain, value, and rhythm. Uranus is rupture, update, and freedom. When this meeting happens in retrograde motion, the focus is a radical review of the basics. Routines, costs, deadlines, habits, partnerships, food, sleep, tools, not to dramatize, but to restore torque. The question of this passage is direct. Can your foundation withstand your next version? Practical signs appear as small, short circuits in the routine, an invisible expense that becomes glaring on the bill, a tool that keeps jamming on you, a comfortable habit that upon closer inspection just numbs you. This isn't bad luck. It's Uranus pointing out leaks. Instead of fixing it with tape, replace the part. In Taurus, change that lasts is made with real replacement, not a patch. In the body, the adjustment is sensory. Spikes and drops in energy denounce foods, schedules, and stimuli that no longer converse with you. Two simple answers gain power: regulating sleep and simplifying food. Uranus in Taurus prefers clean fuel to heroic coffees. If the body stabilizes, the mind stops producing useless noise and intuition rises like water in a well that has been unclogged. In money, the order is to discard what doesn't deliver palpable value. Idle subscriptions, masked fees, purchases driven by anxiety, partnerships that only exist on paper. Transparency is an amulet. Write it down, add it up, compare, cut. Uranus returns freedom by taking dead weight out of the backpack. And at the same time, it favors investments that increase autonomy, learning something that reduces a recurring cost, acquiring the right tool, formalizing clear terms of exchange. Less dispersion, more density. In relationships and partnerships, this return to Taurus asks for sincerity of logistics, not just of feeling. The connection that stays is the one that fits into schedules, agreements, and available energy. Alignments are confirmed when the agreement is simple and kept. What depends on eternal explanations is not ready. Uranus doesn't punish, it repositions. Sometimes the movement is to return each person to their own axis so the bond can breathe without hangers-on. Creativity in this phase is strangely minimalist. Good ideas appear small, looking obvious, tidying the space where you actually work, standardizing tired processes, automating what repeats, ending what only takes up space. Stop looking for the new as a spectacle. In Taurus, the new is a tightened screw that solves months of noise. This is the kind of update that changes your life. Beware of two deviations. First, stubbornness, the habit of defending a method because it worked in the past. Taurus sustains, but the season has changed. If the root is good, the form can be different. Second, revolutionary haste, wanting to demolish everything at once. Uranus in Taurus doesn't make a chaotic revolution. It reprograms the basics step by step, and life grows without grinding. To take advantage of this transit, choose one axis at a time and finish it. 1. Finances. 2. Body. 3. Tools. 4. Home and work environment. In each axis, eliminate one weight and add one support. The gain is immediate. Less friction, more flow. And remember the mantra of this passage: freedom is a consequence of a light and true structure. Spiritually, the lesson is simple and adult. You don't need to prove anything to anyone, but you need to prove it to your life. When your daily life proves what you say you want, Uranus removes unexpected barriers and returns synchronicity. You call it luck. The sky calls it coherence applied to matter. In closing, treat yourself with respect. Every update uses energy. Rest with quality, hydrate, touch the earth, eat meals your body recognizes, sleep without screens. The Taurian miracle happens when the basics become impeccable. From there, Uranus accelerates without breaking you. The result is a foundation that doesn't shake when the next wave arrives. The next 72 hours consolidate what the week ignited. No infinite lists. One gesture that removes, one gesture that multiplies, one gesture that aligns people. This simple triad creates a clean track for November. Cut. Choose one single energy leak that interferes daily with your fire and end it with elegance. It could be a subscription that doesn't deliver real value, a habit that ruins your sleep, a commitment that only exists out of politeness. The criterion is Taurian. What doesn't sustain, goes. Make the cut with calm clarity, register in writing what is being ended, the reason, and from when. Add a minimal substitute if you need to, but don't create a new drain to take the place of the old one. The body should feel relief within the next 24 hours. If it doesn't, the cut was cosmetic. Adjust until you feel the air come in. Duplication. Now choose something that worked in the last 7 days and double the dose. The sky rewards what has substance. If a focused schedule yielded results, repeat it in another block. If a food prep routine stabilized your energy, replicate it for 2 more meals. If a micro-action in sales or partnership generated a return, multiply the reach with the same script. The duplication needs to be identical, not improved. This is how you measure consistency without self-deception. With each repetition, note what is confirmed and what needs a slight adjustment. The goal is to create a pattern that can get through the week without heroic effort. Frank conversation. A direct conversation unties a knot that consumes more than it seems. It could be with someone who owes you an answer, with someone from whom you're avoiding setting a boundary, with someone who needs to receive a clear no or yes. Write 3 short sentences beforehand. What is happening, what you need, what the concrete proposal is. Speak without accusing, without over-justifying, without pushing for a result. The conversation is a rite of passage. If there is an agreement, formalize deadlines and deliverables. If there isn't, give thanks and reposition your energy. Honesty here restores presence and closes the gaps where your strength is lost. Physical anchors. For the triad to hold, stabilize the body. Hydrate in a disciplined way, sleep on a defined schedule, take a walk outdoors to release tension. Taurus demands physical evidence of your commitment. If the body stabilizes, the mind stops sabotaging, and Uranus can update the basics without breaking you in the process. Money and tools. Review the essentials in 30 minutes. Income, expenses, fees, pending items. Cancel what is dead, confirm what is alive, renegotiate what has potential. In the same block, fix the tool you use most to produce. A software, a notebook, the desk, the file flow. Small frictions added up become a whole month's drain. Confirmation signs, immediate relief after the cut. A more predictable rhythm after the duplication. A lighter relationship, or one ended with respect after the conversation. If 2 of these 3 signs appear by the end of the 72 hours, you have locked in the right track for November. If they don't, simplify even more. A smaller and deeper cut, a more literal duplication, a shorter and more objective conversation. Synthesis, removing what drains, repeating what sustains, aligning those who walk with you. This combination converts glare into harvest. November begins where you prove in daily life what you declared in spirit. If you walked with me through this map of the week, you already feel the stitching. Mars in Sagittarius ignited direction and courage. The full moon in Taurus illuminated what has real value and asks for a harvest. Venus in Scorpio called for depth, reciprocity, and honest boundaries, and the collective shift is already moving the pieces for those who choose coherence instead of noise. None of this is theory. It is spiritual practice applied in daily life, closing doors that drain, honoring the body as a compass, speaking the truth without hurting yourself, investing energy where there is a return. The rest, the sky removes. Crossing this week is choosing posture. Less justification, more presence. Less hurry, more precision. Where there is attachment, let go. Where there is fear, breathe. Where there is opportunity, say yes with your whole body. This way the field understands, responds, and expands. If this message found you at the right time, transform the insight into a conscious vow. Write in the comments, "I received my blessings." It is not decoration, it is vibrational direction. Whoever declares, anchors. May what is yours find you without resistance. See you on the crossing.